You're watching Consider This. I'm your host, Ibrahim Sani, with my co-host,
Sharaad, Kuttan.
We've got plenty of things to uncover today, and I mean plenty. So we'll just run through not just the news of this week, but the news of today as well. So we'll start off with the Terengganu, gymnastic fiasco. We've all known that the Terengganu state government has issued an announcement where they want to put some sort of an attire dress code towards gymnastic athletes in the state government. Following that, the Ministry of Youth and Sports have issued a particular statement saying that they will not allow this to happen. They believe that the gymnastic athletes, male or female, deserve their right to exercise their freedom to do the sport. And of course...
And what's interesting, of course, in that, Ibrahim, is the fact that the argument being made by the Terengganu state government is that the attire of a gymnast is arousing. That is the word that was used to describe it. I do think it's very interesting because you can project any kind of desire onto any object.
Yeah.
Even a lamppost could be arousing.
If you so choose to.
Yes. So the question is, why punish the kids for the feelings of others unconnected to the sport, right? And that is the crux of the matter.
Yeah.
The state government seems to take the position that the kids, their rights, their talents need to be sacrificed on the altar of other people's wayward desires.
And you touched a very important point, which is the athletes themselves. And this is where I want to highlight a tweet that you made asking what is happening to the children. Are we victimizing children? And the Deputy Minister of Youth and Sports, YB Stephen Sim, has chimed in, and we can pull up this particular graphic. It says, "We have made it clear that there should be no coercion on our athletes' attire. National Sports Council, or the NSC, has issued a statement as well. We will not allow athletes to be victimized." Again, the ministry is taking a very strong stance in terms of words. Will they do so indeed as well?
Yeah, I mean, the state government of Terengganu is said to be one that was different from state governments of the past, at least from the past end of it, that they would be technocratic and they would, maybe deal with important issues like job creation and the environment. So, but this focus on these cultural issues, I think, suggests that that's their DNA. The past is intent on reshaping society in its own image.
Okay, moving along, still on sports though, the national football team did something wonderous yesterday evening at Gelora Bung Karno Stadium, Jakarta, where they came from behind twice to win the World Cup qualifier match 3-2. And of course, this was marked by incidences, including that of violence, not just towards the players themselves, but towards the sports minister who was in attendance at the stadium last evening.
Right, so football hooliganism, which you find across the world, including in civilized countries like Britain, suggests, that that's part of the sport. I mean, it does seem to be part of the DNA of football.
But whether it should be, it
shouldn't be, and there are rules to govern it.
Yeah.
Interesting, though, Ibrahim, is the conversation that we're having here about the relationship between the peoples of Malaysia and the peoples of Indonesia. I don't know if hooligans, any part of the world, represent their people or their country.
Yeah.
So perhaps we just deal with it like it's a case of badly behaved
But the
people.
narrative, I agree with you. The actions of a few shouldn't reflect the actions of the many, but we have to take into stock that this has been created into a narrative of Indonesians versus Malaysians, to a point where even the Indonesian sports minister has formally apologized. You can play this clip a bit, where the Indonesian minister has apologized to his counterpart, YB Said Saddiq.
Pagi ini saya bersama Pak Saddiq, luar biasa, Menpora Malaysia, Menteri Sukan Belia Malaysia. Dan saya sudah minta maaf atas peristiwa semalam, dan semoga tidak terulang lagi, dan ini pelajaran penting bagi seluruh supporter Indonesia.
Our Minister of Youth and Sports and have said unequivocally that this action of the few doesn't reflect the action of the many. My question to you, Sharaad, is do you think that it's necessary for a minister to apologize on behalf of the hooliganism that is currently happening?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it seems like a gracious gesture to make. I also want to ask is why are ministers going to be going to foreign countries?
No, it's needed. You need sports. You need morale boost. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's costly to the taxpayer, and I do think
cheerleader.
that. Yeah, I mean, we don't need. How much is the bill for sending a minister and his entourage on foreign trips? Now,
on top of that, there is also escort services required on the ground in Jakarta, armored vehicle service that was rendered towards the players and the ministers'
I mean,
entourage.
ministers responsibility essentially is about policy, and I don't know if they need to be in attendance at football games. But okay, that's by the by. It's obviously overshadowed by this case of hooliganism. We'll leave
Still
it
on Indonesia, West Papua unrest is still ongoing, and West Papua's protests has entered its second week right now in terms of intensity. We've seen some news that the Indonesian government has expelled some individuals that they say are instigating the protests and are instigating the creation of the, unruliness that is happening at West Papua. They, of course, are demanding certain rights. Sharaad, what do you make of this?
It's a long-standing problem, and it's a problem that plagues many parts of the world. It's a question of decolonization. How was West Papua incorporated and becoming part of the Indonesian Republic in the 60s? Now, of course, Indonesia calls it Irian Jaya. On Wednesday, United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet, said she was disturbed about the escalating violence and asked Indonesia to deal with it or manage it. Also, video evidence that the Indonesian military is using militias to target West Papuan activists. So they're actually murdering people, and so that is very disturbing.
Speaking about murder, today is the day that the Cradle Fund murder is taking place. The DPP, in that particular case, made a very strong statement in the High Court just now, saying that they will prove, as in the prosecution team will prove, that Nazrin was murdered. He didn't die in a fire as earlier speculated. This murder is one of the highest high-profile murder trial cases that we've seen in decades. And indeed, this has sparked a lot of interest in a lot of people, but it has also fueled conspiracy theories. Again, Sharaad, do you think that this is fair for us to judge outside of the court?
We don't have to judge because the trial is on now, and I think the Cradle Fund Chief Executive Nazrin Hassan is alleged to have been murdered by his wife, Shamira Muzaffar. Now, this might have been already because of his corporate position, his position in corporate Malaysia. It would have been a stunning case. But Shamira Muzaffar herself is a prominent individual in the corporate world. She's also the daughter of a public intellectual, Chandra Muzaffar. So altogether, this is a star-studded case that involves two young boys, the sons of Shamira Muzaffar. Potentially, it involves archery, the sport of archery, and now an Indonesian maid, apparently, who has fled the country. So,
we don't know. She might have fled the country, but she's not part of this ongoing trial. But this trial has been long in the wanting because we've seen that this trial was postponed a few times already. So the whole country and the whole nation is actually watching this trial with bated breath.
Bated breath indeed. Also, some controversy over the fact that Shamira Muzaffar got bail on a capital crime. She's now. That
doesn't normally happen. In fact, has never happened in recent memories.
So, you know, that sparked some controversy. And of course, I think lawyers will be talking about that for some time to come.
We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about Robert Mugabe's death and his legacy.